and get paid while you're away.
Tired of waiting months to get the team you need? Build a flexible workforce with Upwork. Upwork gives us access to over 10,000 skill sets we don't have in-house, so we can find and hire free.
All right, part 2 here. I'm back. Appreciate the patience. As I was just looking on my phone, another thing as well that something I don't need to be doing, trading off my phone. I don't mind looking at the charts on my phone, but trying to take positions, just not something that's efficient for me. It's not going to say that I've never profited from trading off my phone, but you know, our whole goal is sustainability and longevity. It's not the few wins here and there that we may come across, and maybe it's a really thought out entry that you had, but this can actually, this is something that I've told myself that I wouldn't do. And you can either do two things. You can take it and just live with the results, whether it's good or bad, and just accept that. Or you can tell yourself, it's just this one time, just because it looks so good. I just love the way it looks. It's perfect play. Just one time. And if I were you, I would definitely go with option 1 before I went with option number 2. Just because going with option number 2, you are definitely gonna get lost in that excuse of just this one time. And then, of course, it's never just that one time. But as I was looking at, price here, I saw the dollar start to move a little bullish. Saw the dollar move a little bullish. And I marked this up last night. I forgot about this. I didn't talk about this earlier on part 1. But so look at this. All right, this is my daily, right? On the dollar. This is my dollar daily. This is so beautiful. The way this is potentially lining up for us. And so what we have here is, if my retail traders are familiar with this, it's a bearish flag. It's a bearish flag. There's an area where we were trending and then we were ranging, right? So clear trend and now clearly ranging right now, right? Trend to range, right? And so ideally what we want to happen is bearish flag means we want to see gold, or not gold, but the DXY, US dollar index. We want to see that going down. And I personally want to see it go down to about this level right here, right? And so a bearish flag would be confirming this EHM trades sentiment, right? And what we have here, I want to read this first, and then we're going to dive into it just real quick, because I think I want to see what price is doing. Right now, it's all about lining it up. Like for me, it's all about lining it up. I don't plan on getting into any entries anytime soon, but I do, if I see something I like, I do plan on executing on something in the moment. As far as when it comes to this FOMC, like I want to line it up right now. But this says here, I wrote this last night again when I was charting up. Wanted to see how this bear flag would play out. So I don't really do stuff like this. I don't like doing patterns like this. However, the bear flag, the bull flag, I feel like those are trend indicating patterns. You know what I'm saying? Like it tells you kind of when we're in the trend, when we're not trending anymore, but then uses that previous trend we were in to tell you, okay, if it breaks this range, we're going to continue in the trend, or if it breaks the range in the bearish direction below this flag here, we're going to go bearish. But if it breaks this direction, we could go attack this daily imbalance, right? So it gives me a perspective of both. And we see the respect that it has had. Like, it's not going to be like super picture perfect every single time. And a lot of the times it's honestly not going to be picture perfect. But there's sometimes it does, like, and to me, this is honestly picture perfect. Like, it's just super clean. Clear, clean respect here with these wick offs of that top part of the flag. And what we're getting now, right? And as I continue, potential trend breakout reading chart pattern. So what this is here. Wanted to see if price moves to break the sell side of the flag. Then I will go down to my execution time frames, right? So why am I talking about execution time frames? And this is the DXY, right? Because our dollar moves inversely to our DXY. And hold on, no, I'm not. Watch this. This is beautiful. So let's continue on this, right? Our dollar moves inversely from our DXY, right? And so what do we have here? I will go down to my execution time frames, which just means I'm going to go to my gold chart and I'm going to go down to my execution time frames, and I'm going to make sure that these are moving the same. And actually, I like this entry right here, because the stop, about a 14 pip stop. I got more than 60 pips to go. Let me take that. Stop loss at 24.95, right? And why am I okay with the buy? It has to do with this DXY. And I know I literally just said I would not enter any positions prior, but I have a really clean outlook, and we're about an hour and a half still outside of FOMC, so I'm not super concerned on that. So I'm gonna have my stop loss. I'm gonna take it when it comes, if it gets there. 14.36 or 14.3 pips is my stop loss. Let's see. I could let it go to there. That'd be about $3. I could let it go down to this decision-making zone. That'd be about $6. So I'll just let it ride right there. Just because if it's going to keep going, it's going to keep going. It's not going to come down, touch all this and mess with all this and then go. Like it's going to go from here and then go touch my decision-making zone if we're going to go. So I would have liked this position, right? I would have liked that entry, but I didn't get in that one. I would have liked that entry, but I didn't get in that one. But you see, if I'd have took that one, we'd be in about a 60 pip profit. However, those are one of those ones again where it's not my bloom entry, right? But this is what I need to do to be able to incorporate other types of entry points. For me personally, I need to be able to have data behind them. But going back to this, while I'm in my position, I'll keep track of, the price here. But let me actually do this. Just set an alert. Price wants to come back to my entry, it'll let me know. But this is the daily dollar, right? So let's revert back to that. This is the daily dollar. All right. I'm recording either. Hold on. One second. Let me start my recording. One second. Almost. All right. And so this is my dollar, right? DXY, right? I'm currently in a buy on gold. So letting that do its thing right now. Currently in a buy on gold. $100 live account, right? How I got there, this is how, right? But you know, if you go check out part 1 and you'll get a little more insight. You know, this is part 2 here, but let me go back to my DXY. So my DXY, right? I wanted to see if price moves below this bear flag. And then I go down to my execution time frames. I said it's 11:55 and the MACD is losing buyers volume. That part is really important to me, right? That the MACD is losing buyers volume, right? Why am I saying that? Because it's the first time a gray volume bar appeared, right? And ideally, and ironically, I should say, at that same level, that same gray volume bar, we're getting a potential flag breakout. Like looks like this bearish flag is about to get broken by, you know, the dollar moving downwards. And why I'm so comfortable using this chart pattern on the DXY as gold moving back to my position. So I'll let it hit my stop loss. If it wants to hit my stop loss, it'll hit my stop loss. And then I'll just let it be. And so why I'm so comfortable using my DXY for this in this position and not like on my gold chart is because I really want an indication of the dollar and what it's doing, because that allows me to like why I was comfortable entering a buy was because these move inversely. The dollar and gold move inversely. So when the dollar does move downwards, and if this is true, this pattern that I'm testing out, right, that I wanted to see if it played out, and not even testing out in a way where, you know, it's a really it's a really structured approach. You know what I'm saying? I have a really structured approach for trying this out, right? Because even without this, like, I can still visualize and see we're headed downwards, and then I can go in and found levels that I want to find to see if price is going to continue lower, similar to, you know, price being pretty much on a decision-making zone level right now, considering this candle and then, you know, this structure over here. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to see how this worked out, right? And so cool. But the reason I was so comfortable entering a buy is because if we get this break and this does continue, right, gold's just gonna keep going up, right? At least for sure to my take profit, because this is as far as I plan to take this trade. You know, unless it's my stop loss, then of course that's as far as I plan to take this trade. But this is as far as I plan to take this trade because of the current situation. But I was talking a little bit earlier in part 2, right, about our conversion line, about our conversion line. And since, so we got that cross from this conversion line right here. Look at that, super clean. Price breaks that, comes back down, stops up right there, uses that same level that it broke. I was testing that too. Price broke that conversion line. Basically the average of price, came back and retested that average a few times. Boop, boop, broke off, right when we got above again. That's when he started going bullish. And so now it's like, okay, I want to see it respect this conversion. You know, my stop loss is pretty much right on that conversion. So that's super clean. As long as, let me go down here though. This is an important factor as well though. This is gold. I mean, this is the dollar, right? This is my dollar chart. And so let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. All right, so my dollar, when I go down to my lower time frames, right, you see what we got here? What do we have here? We have the dollar moving bullish. We have the dollar moving bullish. Which long term, potentially bearish movement from the dollar, right? Long term, potentially. I understand the potential. I'm comfortable risking my account and my money based on potential. Yes, I am, because of the understanding I have of trading. Now, risk management plays into effect, which is something I clearly didn't utilize. And this is not to say that we can't have profits this size. I have things in place to prevent lessons this size. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. So the execution process is important. Of course it is. But at that same time, we can relieve the pressure off of ourselves by controlling our risk. And so, you know, I would say ideally it's you want to have a primary execution process. And I have that. It's on my 1 minute chart. I have a way I want to execute, just strictly what I want to look, what I'm reacting off of to enter a trade, right? Not necessarily what I'm looking for, but the reaction I'm making based off what I see when I enter a trade that comes on the 1 minute, right? But now I do have other reactionary actions. I just realized those are actions that you're like, I guess that's probably something that everybody knew. Boo. Just let that go by. But no. So I have other ways, you know, I'm reactionary on the market. But I think you should definitely have a primary setup for that, and then a secondary setup, because at the end of the day, you want to have that freedom in your trading, you know, but then just have proper risk. Now, if it's something that doesn't make sense and it's just completely unprofitable, then I see no reason why that would make any sense to have a secondary. But if it's something that you utilize maybe differently than you do your primary, like in terms of you know, maybe you're scalping your primary entry, and then you're day trading or you're intraday trading your secondary, right? Or you're holding it longer than those time. You know, maybe it's kind of like what me and Q were talking about the other day, and just maybe it's your live bank account or your live savings account that you're just growing over time, so you may just let it sit for the month, right? And that stuff is like, all that stuff provides exactly what trading provides, and it's freedom to control it how you want, control your money how you want to control your money. That's my alarm going off because prices, it just moved back through my entry point. but yeah, so that freedom, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. And every trader would tell you this, that there's a million different profitable strategies. And so if we know that there's so many different formulas for success when it comes to entry point execution process, if we know there's so many different formulas, what is it about that doesn't make us profitable traders, or that doesn't make profitable traders, or that doesn't make unsuccessful traders profitable? I'm not going to say us, because that I'm not going to fall under that at all. And I don't care what it looks like right now. You can bet that I'm not going to fall under that. But what makes them, what separates it, the nation's fastest internet provider, the mind. It's the mindset. It's the mindset, the will, the resiliency, but that's all mindset. Some of it is just having some type of grit now, but I even still feel like it's all a mindset. Everything's a mindset, right? Everything's a mindset. I was reading Think and Grow Rich last night. Second time I'm reading it, just because gotta go over things again, to really obtain the information. But it was talking about an individual. His name was a kid. His name was Blair. I forget the parent and their exact positions. But basically, this kid was born without ears. He was born without ears, and of course, what the doctor said. Doctor said he'd never be able to hear. He'd never be able to hear or speak. Right? That's what the doctor said. To make a long story short, parents ingrained a mindset in this child. Hold on. Not only did they ingrain it in the child, but they ingrained it in themselves first, that this child would be able to speak and hear like a normal person, right? Like I said, to make a long story short, it ended up happening. The kid ended up going through elementary school, middle school, high school, graduated college, and finally, by the time when he got to college, he came up with a device to where he can hear people perfectly. There was somebody that sent him a company basically sent him a test trial of this device. And he could hear people perfectly, and it changed his life. But all throughout that time, his parents ingrained a mindset in him that this liability would be an asset, right? So it started. The reason why this story matters so much is because a book as valuable as Think and Grow Rich uses really, really good stories to shine light on how important it is to work what's up here, right? And we can control everything that's out here. We can control what's out here. We can control what's in here, and certain things I know we can't control and that are completely out of our control. But underlying those things out of our control are things that we can control completely, to where we're not affected by those things outside of our control. And now if we get hit with something, it's natural. We're human beings. We're going to feel it initially, right? We may have that initial feeling of, damn, trying to control something you can control. You may have that initial feeling, but take a break, take a step back. Okay, let me do this because I can't worry about that, right? And so that's exactly the mindset that is needed when it comes to trading. And that mindset we ingrain in ourselves that we are going to be profitable traders. We are 1,000% going to be profitable traders. Okay, we have the end point now. We have the end. How do we get there? I see the finish line, right? And when it comes to trading, there's no finish line, because You can always develop as a trader. You can always make mistakes as a trader to where you're back to square one in terms of finances. But that's where risk management comes in play, and that should never ever happen, right? And yeah, that should never happen. Once we move into profit, and we're forever in profit. And even the days we lose, it's like yeah, we took an L today. And maybe even we didn't have a single profitable trade, and like our trades, our account is like negative 5,000 for that day, even though it's negative 5,000. Like I done made over $1 million in trading. So you know what I'm saying. So that's the mindset that my brain is ingrained on, and it's now all it is for me personally. I'm talking, and anytime you guys hear us talk, on these live calls, in our Discord, back chat, whenever you hear us on this camera, no matter what platform it is, it's talking transparently, and it's talking personally. It's talking observedly, right? It's talking from a number of different aspects, but you just know it's all genuine. And since I'm in the same position as 95% of traders, right? 90, even probably higher than that, because the amount of profitable traders is very small. But since I'm currently in that position, I can relate to that. I can relate to those people. But I can't relate in the mindset, because some people stopped there at the lack of profitability and turned around, right? But this market I can never turn around on, because of the freedom of the skill the skill it provides, and the freedom it provides. And it's one of those things that, as long as we control what we can control, it'll be an asset. It'll be a resource to us. It'll be something we can utilize significantly, like, guys, in ways you can't even imagine. Like, I sit and I think about this shit, excuse my French, all the time. Like, all the time. My imagination, and something that Jim Rohn, shout out JR, my favorite speaker, of all time. Jim Rohn, man, he's phenomenal. But damn it, it'll come back to me, as I shouldn't open that other tab. I guess that's the benefit of being on live. I can actually go see what I was about to say, because I'm actually I shouldn't open that other tab. My imagination. Oh, boom, that's all I needed. That's all I needed right there. So my imagination, right, has grown so much over the last, I'd say, probably like 3 years. Good, definitely like 2, solid, strong 2. But Jim Rohn talks about just certain ways we need to be like a child. Like, certain ways we need to be like a child. And I didn't say anything about Siri. And that's such a profound statement, because like, he talks about having the curiosity of a child. He talks about having the imagination of a child. And those two things, like the curiosity of a child, like there's nothing you can get past. The child, like they want to know about everything, even if it's something they don't even like. They just want to know about literally everything, anything having to do with everything. But then the imagination, children have just such creative imaginations, and I just think throughout time and throughout our life, and we've talked about this in one of our other live streams. Um, Throughout life, with school and this and that and all these different aspects, we uh, we damage our imagination, right? We allow the comparison of others to damage our imagination. We allow the society. There's a specific word I'm looking for, but just the timeline that society has behind how life should go. We allow that to damage our imagination, right? We allow our environment to damage our imagination, our relationships to damage our imagination. We allow every outside factor that is available to damage our imagination. And now, as kids, when kids are still kids and as they are in school, even in my opinion, like some of this curriculum damages a child's imagination. You know what I'm saying? And the ability for them to use this and create with this, right? The ability to create with this, not see something and then like only think that's the way it should be. Because if that was the case, we would have one car on the road. We would have one style home that would be built. We would have one computer, one iPhone. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would just, there wouldn't be anything else besides the factors of capitalism. And I'm not even talking about that type of stuff. I'm talking strictly off the imagination, the power of the imagination, and how just like everybody is different. Imagine if we can all utilize our imagination. And of course, now we have to, be really careful when we say stuff like that because there's, you know, people that take that type of stuff out of context. But I'm not talking to those people. Those people aren't even going to view this live call. You know what I'm saying? And if they do, they would have probably already hopped off by now. But the people that understand what I'm getting at and care what I'm getting at, um, and even found this live stream, um, they know they're in the right place. Um, they know they're in the right industry, you know, and I just want us to continue to just develop this. That's where my development is at, is developing this. That's all it takes for me to be a profitable trader, is just to continuously develop this, because like it's written, but um, price is moving along here, just kind of staggered in this level, um, which I'm not mad about. Like I said, I already accepted. First of all, I accepted every dollar I put into my trade locker account before I even pressed buy or sell. The moment that entire amount was in my account, I accepted every dollar. Now, did that mean that I wouldn't manage it accordingly? Um, no, of course I'm gonna apply risk management. Um, well, you know, when I feel like it, I guess. I'm just giving myself a hard time. Um, just because it's like comical. Like, it's comical at this point. I've been trading for about 5 years. This year being the first, I can say, year to year, that I was just stupid consistent, just super uber consistent. Maybe taking a break here or two there, but didn't matter if I had money to trade with, didn't matter if I was on a prop, didn't matter if I was earning, didn't matter if I was learning, it didn't matter if I was on a demo, I was trading, I was on the charts, and that is why I can sit with this disposition of, I have a great like outlook of trading, and technical analysis. Areas that I'm definitely developing in is the fundamental side of things. Just understanding liquidity more. These inefficiencies of price action. Imbalance. The macroeconomical side of things. Interest rates and inflation and how that stuff plays a part. That's why I utilize the dollar so much because I feel like that's just a crazy, crazy edge we could have on the market. Just because it's just more insight, just more insight. And then me and freaking Q, right? We just figured out which is something that I didn't know. But gold, uh, China is the largest producer of gold. China is the largest producer of gold. And so like when I saw that, and if y'all don't believe me, look at this. China is the largest producer of gold in the world. In 2023, China produced approximately 370 metric tons. What the freak? What is 370 metric tons equivalent to? I just want to see if it give me like a car or something. So a car weighs about 4,000 pounds. I'm not even, whatever. I'm over it. But anyways, the China produced approximately 370 metric tons of gold, maintaining its position as the top gold producer country globally. China's dominance in gold production is supported by numerous prosperous mining areas, particularly Shandong province, and significant investments in mining technologies and infrastructure. Um, but this is something I haven't even dove into. And once I get into this, oh, I'm gonna feel like I even have a larger edge and a greater edge on what I'm doing, right? Because if I get behind, and this is the beauty of the space. There's so much information and it's all accessible. It's all accessible. Um, but with there being so much information, you have to be patient in the information that you seek. And you have to be very structured. Can't Q brought up an analogy the other day that I've been using. This is probably like the 30th, fourth time I brought it up. Uh, but he talked about 100 rocks. And I just like that just because it's simple. You can relate it to anything, 100 coins, but I like 100 rocks just because it's just no rock looks the same, right? Like it's just crazy. Um, but he brought up 100 rocks. So if you're thinking about diving into these other concepts, don't look at all of them together. Pick out a few rocks, two or three, and then attack those, and then two or three more rocks and attack those, and so on and so forth. So I personally have done other things surrounding my fundamental perspective and understanding of trading, and I completely undermine gold, the understanding of that there's actually gold news and not like news like Forex Factory, which there probably is. But there's actually like gold data I can go after. But if I can also get insight, then I can start to blend the two. Oh my gosh. All right. But that'll probably be the dive I do after I get through these macroeconomics, and the interest rates and inflation. So I'm looking at take that to definitely just put my focus on that during this election time, just because of we only get to do this every 4 years, so I want to have a good understanding of the um, sorry about that. Um, I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, that's what I'll just focus on this stuff surrounding, the election and whatnot. And then, I definitely want to dive into, just the gold side of things. This is a new question I have for myself. And what countries is hurt? Oh my gosh. Come on. What countries is hurt? Have a talk. At least they understand what I'm saying. What countries are hurt by the effect of gold prices, right? South Africa, which is funny because I actually really liked trading the South African rand. I just really wanted to just focus on one pair just because I would never like be looking at like entering on both sides at the same time. It's just not I just didn't like that. It's not my style. I like focusing on one pair, being, in a few positions at the most, but me being locked in on one pair. Um, but this is interesting. Once the largest producer of gold, South Africa's economy is significantly impacted by changes in gold prices due to its historical reliance on gold mining. Interesting. Russia is one of the top gold producers. Russia's economy can be influenced by gold's price volatility, impacting its mining sector and export revenues. Okay. With substantial gold production and reserves, Australia is also sensitive to gold price and changes, which can affect its mining industry. And then, but this is perplexity. This is I'm not going to get into it right now, but I was about to start just write another question as if I was doing my research. But I'm just gonna go in deeper from that and pull my notes and whatnot. But that's interesting to know. Something that I really have not thought about in terms of the potential effect that could have on other currencies and whatnot. So that's super interesting. But I'm still in this position right now, analyzing right now because I want to see what's going on here. Price still above that conversion. Not much buyer's volume going on right now, though. Not much buyer's volume. You see, even though we've gotten weak buyer's volume, we've just consolidated. Haven't moved down, haven't moved up, just been in this same range. Still above our conversion though, right? You see, this play we'd be in profit on that one. And I was in the car at this time, and I told myself that I was not gonna take a trade driving. And I even opened it up for a second and felt guilty that I even noticed that there was a potential entry. Yeah, so I'll be what I'm looking for here is, as it's about 10:04. Um, and let's see how long we've been on here so far. About 10:04. Um, closing in on hopping off here shortly. But what I'm looking for is we see this 4 hour area that the dollar has been utilizing. I want to see how it like we see how it's reacted here. I want to see how it moves from this area. If it if it's gonna, keep moving up from this area. Let me actually see if there's something below it that I can box price in. Let's see here. Let's see here. We can look over here. There definitely would be something below it for us to be able to box price in, and ultimately I'm looking for my decision making zone. That's the structure I'm looking for just to confirm the area, just to confirm the area, and I won't go too far back. I did see a few, but let me see if I can get one on this 4. Perfect. Look at that right there. Boom. Let me actually take the low. Let's take the open. Look at that though, right there. So now I can box price in where it's at right now. And if it wants to break below, it's gonna have to break below this one to give me that final move. Um, Price moving back to my entry. I'm gonna foreclose this one. Just foreclose this one. As we approach FOMC, no need for me to if price doesn't want to move, it's not gonna. And what's telling me it doesn't want to move right now, it's not moving yet, is this volume. So it's just consolidating in this area. Like I said, a mid FOMC, which is no problem at all. I understood that. Had proper risk in place. I learned 70 cents. I'm literally not tripping at all. So give me all this stuff. Oh, I actually need those. I forgot. I just made those last night. Interesting. But yeah, so what I'd be looking for the rest of today, right, is I want to see. So this is gold. I want to see how gold acts on this 4 hour. Just leave that there. I want to see how gold acts on this 4 hour. And I want to see how it responds to my weekly trend. These two areas are just areas that are for my lower time frames. Not necessarily just for my lower time frames, still significant. But like this one, I'm just analyzing something, on this one, and then this is just a 5-minute decision making zone here that you see this wick use. So like every time frame is used with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though it's a smaller time frame, it may be more fragile. It's still that zone and how it's found and what it is symbolizing is still valid, right? It's still valid. Um, so I'm essentially allowing price to. I want price to sell because I have more room to sell, right? So like that would give me about 400 pips bearish. Um, for me to get into buys, I just needed to break this area. Once it breaks this area, let's go, right? Once it breaks this area and retests, let's go, right? 500 pips bullish. And this FOMC will bring that type of volume, I believe, whether it's today or to finish the week. It's going to start today. It's going to start today. In terms of what we should what we can understand about the potential movement of price. But let me go to the dollar, and then I'm gonna go ahead and slide off here. My little girl is waking up. But we'll be back tomorrow, in the morning as well. 5 a.m. I know I was a little late this morning, but we'll be back 5 a.m. Manana, right? But just looking at gold. Looking at the dollar, excuse me. Let me see if so like it's in this range now. So it's in between this 4 hour range currently, 1 and 2. So if we go to this 5 minute, it's in between this 4 hour range, right? So if it wants to head bullish, to this 4-hour range, then that means this should head bearish. If it wants to head bearish to this 4-hour range, I want to see it break completely for me to really feel like gold is going to break this 4-hour decision-making zone and possibly move towards an ATH, which I think is super possible as, gold moving towards an all-time high. But other than that, I am going to see you guys tomorrow. Go ahead and head to our channel, hit subscribe, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. There's a link in Discord too, so you can just follow our discourse about what's going on, with the market throughout the day and whatnot. But other than that,